Are you ready, Timna? Let's just give a big round of applause for Timna. Thanks everyone. So it's been a very stimulating conversation so far. Timna's choosing to go under rather than the conventional over the table. It just goes to show that everybody's different. I'll leave it over to you.
Yeah, let's just give us a round of applause to Mikey. Woo. So, my name is Timna. This is still Talkaoke, a pop-up talk show. It's up to you to decide on what we are going to discuss, and we've discussed where do you get your information from, research. I don't know who was first. Let's start with Mother.
I just wanted to ask, because you know how people, I've got a couple of friends who have donated their body to science after they died, and I wonder whether that's something that people would still do. I mean, I know this research is asking to donate your time and your flat to installing maybe some devices to measure pollution or something like that. But would we, would you donate your body to science, or would you donate your house to science, or is it just too alien?
Okay, so Margot is asking, would you donate your body? Would you donate your time? Evie, what's your point?
Oh, I guess it kind of links when you're like, oh, would you donate your flat to science? Because I think part of me feels like, oh, actually, this is a really interesting study. I would love to have something like collecting data in my home. I'm like, is my toilet spray actually harming my health? But it must be also quite difficult, because I'm right in thinking your study is specifically looking at families with children who may or may not have asthma. Is that right? So it must be hard to try and make sure that you kind of find lots of people who sign up to study, and then try and tell people about what you're doing, but then also but I can only actually select to do the good do good science. You can only select a small selection of that to actually get practical results. I don't know, it's just an interesting thing to get your head around.
Okay, so maybe we can ask Adam. Adam, what do you say? Please come over and join us.
So this is something that does happen, and what we try to do is we always try to first say we're doing a study with families, and we try to focus on families with asthma. Now, what we have, for example, maybe in your case or other people's cases, although you may not qualify for a study, there is a mailing list. You can still be a part of, this whole community, just because you're not in the study. And, we have these events. This is the last one of the summer, but it's all this feedback. It's hearing from people like yourself that want to be maybe a part of something, but maybe don't fit into this particular study. If, there's enough interest, this is version 1. Hopefully there's multiple versions, hopefully over multiple cities. So thanks for your input.
Okay, thank you. So I'll come to you, Lloyd and Margot, in a second, but we have a new face. Hi, I'm Timna, this is Talkaoke. What's your name?
I'm Les. Yeah,
I'm Les. Yeah, we're here with Mikey, Evie, Christian, Lloyd, Margot, Junior, Ian and Adam. Please take a seat if you want to. We also have, what's your name?
Diana.
Diana. And hi, what's your name?
Nicole.
Hi Nicole, take a seat please. This is Talkaoke, a pop-up talk show. So we've discussed the WellHome study, which is about, let's ask other people, but I think there are 2 points. Let's start with you, Lloyd.
I read a book a while ago titled My Stroke of Insight. But anyway, it had a picture at the back of it about some brain fund where you donate your brain after you died. But the question is, would I donate my own? No, I don't think I would. Why? And I don't know anything about beyond death. Okay, Jehovah's Witnesses believe nothing happens after death, but I don't know what happens after death and so on. So I would not donate my organs on that account.
Okay, so you would not donate your body. We were speaking about, would you donate your time, your body after death? So I think Margot, then Ian and Junior.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, because in a way I feel like obviously I enjoy living my life, it's really cool, but I do understand that one day I will die, and I would quite like to see, that I'm making a bit more waves in the world beyond my life, and I think through science it's an interesting idea. I mean, I'm an artist, so I've not really considered it, but I think I would give it a shot, just to kind of see what people come up with, what kind of research that informs. So yeah, I would give my flat. But I may have to ask the scientists not to use heavy perfume. That's the only ask.
Okay. So I think with Ian and then Junior.
I was just going to ask a question. It's a really live question in science. In terms of donating your body to science, would you also be opposed to donating your organs for heart transplants, lung transplants?
I will be opposed. I don't know. I guess in a selfish way, I could say, what has the world really done for me to give them my bloody organs? But that's my selfish answer. I guess my unselfish answer is, I don't know what happens. I'd like to say no, nothing happens for sure, but I don't know. I don't know what happens after death. I don't know.
Okay, so would it have an impact for you if you would know what happens after death?
Yes,
if you would donate your body?
If I knew, yeah, for certain. But no one could really come back and say otherwise, can they?
Okay.
The reason I asked is because of the chronic shortage of organ donors within the black community in the United Kingdom, and it gets us back to that issue of trust and communication, I think. Clearly, I think that people who donate their body to science are doing an amazing piece of work, yes. A lot of people do it because it actually reduces your funeral fees to zero. Okay, you know, that's something to consider, but it's a fantastic resource. But I don't think perhaps there's been really good communication back to the population about the value of the research which comes from those resources. I think that could be really important.
Okay, so
after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, you know.
okay, let's give Junior the possibility to make his point on that.
I'm a great believer in the scripture Revelations when it talks about afterlife. Jehovah's Witnesses do believe in the afterlife. Yeah, they absolutely do believe in the afterlife, because they wouldn't be Jehovah's Witnesses if they didn't. Yeah, from there. Now, I've been somewhere where there were 4,000 Polish people in the building up in Excel Centre when we were having a convention, and to sit there and think, oh, there's nothing after, is a terrible thought, yeah, for all of us. But to be able to believe that yes, there is something that we can achieve, yeah, then I'm all for that. Do you understand? But would I give away my organs? No. Well, I don't think they'd be good enough to give away anyway. Right? Yeah, they'll be ruined by then. And just as much as the question about blood, yeah, with Jehovah's Witnesses, why don't they believe in giving blood? Yeah, from there. So there's lots of questions to answer around this. What he did mention about black people and them not trusting and so on like that. But it's not just not trusting, it's a thing we're brought up with. Yeah? Do you understand me?
You grew up with mistrust. Yeah. Okay. Evie, you wanted to make a point, and I'll come to you, Margot, and then to you, Mikey. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'd be. No, I was just saying. I think I would be up for, like, if I died suddenly and donated my organs, I'd be happy for that. I like the idea of, like, someone else being able to use my heart or whatever. I think donating your bodies to science, I think I'd always be slightly worried that I would be used for some kind of, like, first year medical student, like, anatomy class, and then they're all laughing at, like, my body or something. I don't know, like,
Okay.
but maybe that's just having heard dark stories from doctors, but, like, you kind of want to know that you're going to be respected. Whereas, so if your organs were given off to someone else, you think, okay, that's a really positive, respected thing. If you're sort of lying there for someone to be like, oh, this is a heart, I don't know, then it smells a bit. I don't know.
So you would like to have a positive impact with your dead body?
Maybe it's vain, but it's quite hard to get your head around. You don't want to just be laughed at. Yeah.
Let me come to Margot. Margot, would you?
I would love medical students of first year going like, look at this in my body. I would love that, because if it makes them laugh, that's perfect. That's part of life as well. But my question is that, can you be religious and a scientist?
That's a good question. So I think there was one point from you. Sorry, can you tell me your name again?
I'm Les. Yeah, listen, I want to change it because this, you know, the air quality. Yeah, you know, you've got this here. Yeah, I just want to mention that Imperial have been around the community centre talking about they're trying to do research in the area and putting in devices around this area about the air quality. Yeah, and they need the community's more support because you know a lot of the community don't even know that this is actually going on and stuff. Have you been talking about this already?
So
Because-
this is Talkaoke. We can talk about whatever you want. We would
Yes,
we ordered
because
discussion
what's
air
happened,
pollution.
You've come around. We've had a few meetings about it, yeah, and we were just a bit concerned about the awareness throughout the community, because a lot of the community don't know that you're actually going to be doing the survey, the research. You know what I mean? So, what I was going to ask you is, how are you going to structure and plan this? You know what I mean? I'm just going to enjoy, because you know the area is a really big area. So how are we going to get the, you know, I'm just saying, give me a clue.
Yeah.
How are we going to get this kind of organised?
Yeah, let's ask here. Maybe there is someone here from Imperial. Maybe there are even scientists who are part of the research. So,
Because the monitoring is your side of the thing, it's probably better.
so
So my role in this is to be putting the sensors in people's homes and then looking at the information and then linking it to people's health. In terms of how do we get more people involved and engaged, is that it?
Well, yeah. But the thing is what's happened is like they were talking about in the community, like because we go to the meetings, yeah, with the president. Now, what's happened is they didn't mention the homes. They were talking about on the street. They were going to put the device systems on the virtually on the streets or wherever, right? And then they were going to try and do the research that way. Do you know what I mean? They never mentioned anything about homes.
okay, so from what I get, your point is you would have loved to know it beforehand. That they would also like to go into your house, not only into the area.
Well, okay. Well, no, that wasn't actually mentioned. What was mentioned was.
I'm interested whether it's the same study, yes? So there's another study known as, well, it's not really a study, it's an air pollution outdoor ambient study, also out of Imperial, called Breathe London. And Breathe London is engaging people within the community for putting outdoor air pollution monitors around. So that I know about. I'm wondering whether that might be that, and this is slightly different.
I think that might be the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a different study.
Yeah, there's a few. Apparently, there's a few going on there. I mean, what we
Are
were
you
just.
part of the study?
No. What's happened is they were talking about it. Yeah, in a few of the meetings, we were just concerned how you're going to structure it and how you're going to actually process.
The information. Oh.
When you refer to we, what are you talking about?
Give me
No,
one
what
second.
I'm talking about residents.
Okay.
You know, I'm talking about the residents, because you know, I'm part of the residents, yeah, the White Sea Resident Committee meeting. So what's happened? They've come to our meetings, yeah, talking about these concerns.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we were just saying.
Which
well, look,
concerns?
concerns about the air pollution.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And they're going to.
So are you aware of the air pollution here in this area?
Yeah, I am aware, but a lot of the residents weren't aware.
Okay, and
that they were
do you
looking
know
to
why?
do this. They were looking to do this. You know what I mean? I'm just saying in general, they weren't aware.
Okay.
They weren't aware. They weren't aware that they were looking to do this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm just bringing up your.
Yeah, good point. Give me 1 second. I see a new face. Hello.
Oh, hi.
What's your name?
My name is Ramdev Burton.
Ram dear.
Burton.
Ram dear Burden. I'm Tim. Burden.
Not Burden.
Sorry.
Burton.
Burton. Ram dear Burton.
I can't be a burden to you.
Okay. No, you're not. Definitely not. I'm just non-native.
Can I say something to what Les said?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let's make a round of names. So, what's your name?
Junior?
Ian.
Nicole.
Adam.
Les.
Mikey?
Evie.
Christian. Lloyd.
Margot.
So we're here. This Talkaoke. It's up to you to decide on what we're going to discuss. We've discussed: would you donate your body to science? Would you donate other things to science, to research? Nicole, would you donate something to research?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I pretty much come down on the side of science here, in terms of the religion science axis. I think mine's way to the science side rather than the religion side.
Okay.
So I think
why?
anything. Well, possibly probably from my upbringing and my culture. I just have been brought up to believe in science and believe in the reality of things and cells and in investigation, rather than religion. So I would definitely donate my organ.
So it's also a question of how we grow up, from what I understand. Okay, I think Mikey had a point.
Well, just on Leslie's thing about the how the thing is going to be structured, and I just wanted to find out: are you saying that people don't know about that and they should know about it, or are you saying?
Well, yeah.
That,
But what's going on, Mike? The residents, at the last meeting I was at, because we have loads of meetings. Last meeting.
What kind of meeting was that?
It's community. It's resident association. Now, at the last meeting, they spoke about it. Imperial spoke about it, and the residents were just a bit concerned that if they're going to start it, there needs to be a consultation as well to have a. Because remember, White City in general, you've got about 10,000 residents over there. Do you know what I mean? So they were concerned. They wanted to know more about what's actually going on. You see what I mean?
Let's pass this over the microphone to.
No, I'm not.
To.
No, I'm not debating. Listen, what you're mentioning there is excellent. But remember, you've got to remember that we've got all types of people over there. You've got all diversities, do you understand? So at the end of the day, they are majority rule. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty cool, but majority rule. So what's happening is it's awareness. They want to be involved in. They want to be more involved in than delegated. Do you understand? Because what's happening is sometimes it's more like this is what we're doing.
Imposed.
Okay.
Yes, right. Imposed, and a lot of like, well, hold on a minute, we don't know anything about it. Do you understand? So.
Okay, I think Ian has a point on that.
Well,
you're leaving. Please give us a final thought, Junior.
Yeah, Les, that's always been a problem in the community. You have to understand the breakdown of community that's going on, plus the breakdown of families that's going on, plus things are different today. People are doing different things, and like in my day, some don't want to get involved. They may voice that about it and everything, but you don't see them. Yeah, in the meetings even, do you understand? They may go to a residential meeting and you may say something about what's going on in the community, but you actually don't see them. I worked with the Somali Eritrean community where nobody was working with them. Years later, they will turn around and say, do you remember, we remember you when you used to do workshops and so on for us, like that. So we've got internet and so on. There's all these ways of getting people to know. Plus you've got leaflets and so on putting through doors. There's all these ways of people to know. So I can't understand why they turn around saying, they don't find out. There's leaflets on the wall that you just walk straight past, even in the community centre.
Okay, so maybe that's an interesting. Why? Give 1 second. Let's pause it.
So what I'd say is, if it's Breathe London, we can mention this to the people who work on Breathe London. We can mention that there are these concerns. Yes, it's a little bit outside what we're doing here, but there's a real likelihood it might not be, because low-cost sensing, putting monitors in areas, has become a bit like the Wild West, and there are many organisations and many people providing these services. So it might not be us at all. But clearly your point is well made, that if a data service, something which is evaluating the quality of your environment, is there, then you need to know about it. But I don't think it's this.
No, and also the thing is, look, what I was going to say to you as well, like this leaflet here, because I'm usually, like, I get a lot of the literature, you know what I mean, and email, I'm on the ball, This is the first I've seen of this. Do you know what I mean? This is why I was just looking at that here, because usually, I get everything through my door. Do you know what I mean? This is the first. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying in general. I can tell you that now. So what I'm saying is you can see the feedback. What I was saying when we go to residents, right? And you're hearing back. At the end of the day,
give us a final thought, Nicole. I would like to have a final thought from Nicole as she's leaving. Please give us your final thought.
I think it's a fantastic round table, and there's some really interesting ideas coming out. The engagement doing things with residents, not to residents, should be more than not just a cliche. That we really need to engage residents and.
Okay, so we need more engagement within the community between researchers.
What it is at the end of the day, yeah, is all right. You may set up a project or whatever, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's so important that we get the feedback from the resident. You know what I mean? You get feedback. It could be negative, it could be positive, but you get the feedback. You see what I mean? And this is what it's about. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right. Positive. It could be positive. It could be negative.
Yeah, I think Mikey has a point, and I'll come back to you, Adam, in a second.
I mean, as far as I know, I'm not part of the study at all, but what I've been hearing today is that this is just about getting people to participate. So these are not going into people's homes that don't want it to go into their homes. It's just people that are interested, that have got children that may be suffering from respiratory conditions, that they will work with. But part of that as well, as what I've been hearing today, once I said it, I don't think I'm an expert, but it's also about getting those people to talk about what concerns them as well. So it's very much, I think, what Imperial are trying to do is involve local people in the actual manner in which this is actually being done. So part of that is having a conversation and is finding out what people's concerns are. As far, hopefully you will back me up on that.
Yeah, I'll come to you, Adam. You had a point on that, and I will come to you, Margot, and to Ramdam Burton.
So it sounds like you're very much involved with the community. So this being the first time you hear about it, I would invite you to at least join our mailing list. We can even contact you if you give us your information, or we could do both, and open it up to that community that you're talking about.
This leaflet here, because I get everything. Yeah. I mean, something come through yesterday, right? And I don't miss a trick, you know what I mean? And you better believe it as well, yeah? And this is the first I've seen of that. But however, I was talking more about what the concerns were, they were trying to do it.
And give us an example, what were they saying, these the people from your community?
And people were saying that, look, they want to do more to do with the air quality. They were concerned about the air quality. And what they were trying to do is put a device around the parks, on the streets or wherever, because they were really concerned. That was what they were talking about originally.
So were these people afraid of the...
No, they were just, because what, you see, the thing is what we do, we listen. One thing, because I go to a lot of meetings, yeah, right, the House of Commons, one thing we have to do is listen. This is why when I turned up, right, I like to listen. You need to listen first of all, before you start to scrutinise. You see what I mean? I've checked the leaflet, that's when I started to speak. You know what I mean? I ain't seen this leaflet.
Yeah, please take it with you.
Yeah,
it's yours, and I'm sure that Adam. And I think that
you've got literature.
And I'm sure that Adam or Esther could give you even more leaflets. We have a point from Random Burton. You had a point.
Yeah.
Please.
Let's let the man talk, please. Oh, sorry. My name is Ramdev Burton. I live here, Wormholt Road, number 24. And I'm retired from the Home Office. And when I was after that, even I was in the Home Office, I was linked with the Imperial College students. And up to now I deal with the postgraduates. Mostly the postgraduates from all different countries, because I'm retired now, you see, and I deal with them. I'm still with the Imperial College. And so with all nationality from different countries, everyone comes up, they want to be somebody, they want to be this. And I have got already 5 students in NASA. So if Monday you are going to, there will be rockets going to the moon, so you can watch.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. There was a hiccup. There was a hiccup for a couple of days, and that was it. So this is my policy. I am helping the students from. This is my policy. I am helping all the students for different countries.
Okay.
You see, and then this is why the Imperial College is so famous around the world.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm not an expert concerning Imperial College. Is Imperial College that famous because Imperial is working with that many different education-wise? I think Junior. Oh, sorry, Margot, and then you, Junior.
No, I just wondered. I think this is really impressive that there will be students, sending a rocket to the moon. So I look forward to finding out more about it. Monday. I'll be there. Where do I go? What do I watch? But I just in the afternoon. Is it going to be coming? Is it launched from Imperial, from the roof, or do they have to go? Because I'll come. Where do I need to go? Is it going to be televised? What's happening?
NASA.
Let's ask.
NASA.
Who
Okay, so
knows?
it's NASA.
Ramdan Burton.
I forgot what my point was.
Ramdan Burton, do you want to tell us more about this rocket?
No, I can't explain. It's a long story. Sorry, I can't explain just like that.
Okay,
it's a long story.
Okay, I'll come to you in a second. Junior, give us your point. And
Yeah, I just want to go back to that point that Les was making, because there were leaflets out from the first session that they had, whether it was in here or Shepherd Bush, Green. They've had leaflets out, and the one thing that you said there seems to come out every time White City's having something that there's not enough people knew. Yeah, well, perhaps not enough people are involved in the community in White City, because I've been involved as a community champion and for years and everything, done the Paralympics and so on like that. But even when it came to trying to do something like a Commonwealth Street Party, because we got Commonwealth Avenue there, and it's got history there that so many people don't even know about.
What is a community champion?
Community champion is somebody that goes around in the community trying to find out what people want to do in the community, what their concerns are and so on like that, as Les was saying, and it's always been there.
Okay, to get them involved. Okay.
From there.
Let me come to you last. Ian also had a point.
Yeah,
I think Mike.
From there, so being involved in the community, I've always seen, even if you look at this whole event, where do you see anybody dancing? Where do you see parents and children doing activities? Can you see the problem I'm talking about? Involving the community.
What is the problem?
There's a lack of engagement. Yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but what it is, giving out leaflets and so on is not going to fix the lack of engagement. Okay. What I'm saying to you is, look, I was talking to the council last week, and I said to them, I've got a book at home. It's 1,000 games for teenagers, children, and adults. And I said to her, I actually thought of a game that's not in the book, which was Limbo in the Park. Now, Limbo in the Park could be rolled out to all parks all over London, just to get parents and children engaged together. Because if parents and children can't engage together, how are you going to expect adults to engage?
Okay, so Junior is saying there's a lack of engagement. I'll give you the mic in a second. Ramdan Burton is about to leave, so please give us your final
Sorry, I have to leave because I've got few friends around here, so I'm with them as well. And so anytime when there were anything Imperial, please, just my name, you have got it, number 24. You can ask any Imperial College students.
Okay, so Ramdan Burton says that we should get in contact and engage with Imperial. So, but
Imperial College is one of the best. Even in America, they know. You say, so so you have to remember, and I have to encourage any students when you come, because I help all the students if I can, for their benefit, if they come from different countries. You see, so that's what I do. But thank you.
Just got a quick question. Do you think it's possible to get kids or young people from this neighbourhood to go and work with Imperial a bit more? Because you've got all these international students coming in and working in this world-class institution. But is it possible for people from here to work?
What they would do? What type of work they would like to do?
Whatever is going in Imperial. I think there's lots of different departments.
Okay, so there we have this question of engagement. We have, even 1 second, we have the question of engagement. Les, what's your point?
Sorry, that's a good question because that was asked at the previous meeting when Imperial turned up. Imperial turned up, and the question I asked, because they were talking about engagement, and the question, I brought it up, and I said, look, yeah, because I read a lot of literature. You know what I mean? They send it through, get literature, listen, I get literature, right? And I read through. So I mentioned, I said, well, look, right, I know you guys, you do a lot with the children. They're always doing experiments and games and stuff, which is fantastic. But I said, just one thing, yeah, adults, yeah, maybe one of the ideas I was suggesting, not just the volunteering, yeah, but if they, you know, certain courses. So, for example, if they were doing the engineering, just introduction, foundation, do you know what I mean? Just to engage, engage. You know what I mean? And then what was mentioned was one thing they done really, really good, and a lot of people didn't realise this. Yeah, they were doing apprenticeships as well. They had interviews for apprenticeships, and she goes to me, yeah, and I said, well, that's right, because I'm always reading and always aware of what's going on. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
So they are starting to kind of get it moving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's just progress. Yeah?
Okay, so there are workshops to engage with the community.
Yeah, there's things going on.
There are some other points. Mikey, you had let's. Evie.
No, I just think it's interesting to like. Yeah, because I think you do get a lot of scientific studies engagement where it is very children focused, which is I think is great because you want to get people to, if they want to become a scientist or work in science, to feel like it's them. But it is interesting because yeah, I feel like sometimes as an adult you might get forgotten. Like, oh well, can your kids go and do this activity? Great, but otherwise, you know, what do you do? Is like we'll get some feedback or something like that. But yeah, so I think the apprenticeship is quite interesting because then that feels a bit more practical. I don't know, like, yeah, if it's from the study of, like, indoor air pollution, it's like, again, I think we talked about it right at the beginning, like, as an adult, if I participate in the study, then I want, okay, I participate in the study, at the end of it, I want 5 tips to, like, improve the air quality inside your house or something, or, you know, actually opening the window, if it's on the street side, it's not going to make your, you know, like, if I think I've, something smelly in my room or something like that, I'll be like, right, I need to get some fresh air in. If that air's not fresh, maybe I can change my behaviour.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a ramble maybe, but I think it's interesting.
So kind of an advantage which you would get out from the research. Yeah.
Maybe you can't always get that from a scientific study. You're not always going to get 5 tips that you can make your life better with.
I don't know, Mikey?
I mean, it's kind of moved on a little bit now, but all I wanted to say was limbo in the park. Isn't that stooping a little bit low? But anyway, but it's kind of moved on. But you know, when it comes to the thing about like researchers and stuff like that, you know, what I would like to see is what we like to do at the People Speak is actually not just get people to be kind of, you know, to sort of follow a program, but actually design the program themselves and actually say, look, these are our priorities. This is what we'd actually like to study. Because I don't think, although scientists are expert at studying stuff, in a way, what they choose to study is kind of dictated a little bit more by what the funding is out there. But, you know, why can't people themselves actually sort of say, this is what we'd like to study and these are the concerns that we have?
Is there... Okay, Margot, please.
This reminds me a little bit of the program that I did. I was in East London, which is where I'm mostly based, but I did this philosophy course, which was kind of... It was looking at some of the things of what... commonalities and kind of challenges of different cultures coexisting, but because every single person from our group came from different background, almost like you followed your own path of interest through philosophy, and I found that just really like interesting because, you know, and I think similarly with science, you know, I am much more interested in, like, I don't know, what I mentioned before, like Alzheimer's and like teeth like flossing, just because I've got cases of Alzheimer's in my family, so I'm interested in that, and I would like to maybe just kind of find out how I can pursue that and finding out more information, but when I think about all the different stuff they have to read in like a barrage of information, that switches me off, so I just do something else.
Okay, so I see a new face. We were discussing about how can we get more community engagement, how can we explain people what the research is about. We were also discussing would we donate our own bodies after we have died. But let's start with a round of names. What's your name?
I'm Fariel.
What's your name?
Adam.
Les.
Mikey.
Evie.
Christian.
Margot.
I forgot my name now, but all this talk, yeah, that's. Oh, thank you for remembering.
Ian.
Okay, so it's up to you to decide how we're going to continue on this discussion. Christian.
I want to launch a new topic.
Yeah.
And I want to ask scientists, or if anyone know about this new technology, like what kind of effect have against human body, this 5G technology.
Okay, what do scientists know about 5G technology? Ian.
What can I say? I tell you that it is actually being studied. So that's the first thing. Is anybody studying it? Yes, they are. There's a study looking at the impact of Wi-Fi networks, 5G mobile phone networks, on children and adolescents. It's known as SCAMP, yes? So far, all the evidence I've seen shows that there's no impact, yes? It's a really interesting one because they started doing the study and then and the idea was you would have sort of like brain heating from it. And of course then they started the study and nobody uses their phone like that anymore, yes? They all hold their phone down here, so the exposure changed. But then people started using Wi-Fi earbuds and they throw out a huge amount of electromagnetic radiation, which is make dependent, yes? So there now is probably merit in looking into that things. But the important thing is, there is ongoing studies. I've seen the data which is coming out. It looks as though, the G5 thing is, the concerns the public had about it, yeah, are unwarranted.
So there was research about the 5G. So Adam?
So this is a great question, and I have so many friends that have the same question as well. This group that's studying this SCAMP, it's called SCAMP the study, is actually within our department. So we're very close with them and such. I would recommend, if this is something interesting to you, I can go online on your phone. I can show you some of the studies that they're doing. Because it's a great thing, and I think this is where sometimes people, they ask a question, they keep asking questions, but there actually is studies being done. And so I think there's also, we need to have, that turn in our direction, say, we can keep asking these questions over here, let's just make one stop here and know what's happening in the science and literature.
Junior?
Yeah, I just want to bring it back to the leaflet, really, because we're talking about black or black British, North African and Asian countries such as Poland, Philippines, Somali, Arabic, Albanian, Spanish, Amharic and Portuguese. Because sometimes I just think that we've gone off what do black people suffer from, from there, in order to investigate science things from there. Mine, it's a good thing you mentioned about G5. Mine is actually your eyes, the amount of screens that we use, and how does that affect children, as they grow older, because I go from tablet to phone to desktop to laptop, and if I go to the library, I'll go there, and then my TV, I'm like, wait a minute, why am I getting more eye infections? And then you get, well, sorry, you can't go to the hospital because you're not allowed to go in the walk-in department and everything. But just the investigation, really, of what happens to your eyes when you're using all those screens.
Yeah.
I think that that, as well as stroke. A lot of black people suffer from stroke. My mum had a stroke. My mum's had 2 strokes. My dad had a stroke. But it's known that apart from prostate cancer, that stroke is a big one. And I would like to see something like that, because remember, you're asking for certain types of people, from certain nationalities. If you can keep your around that, I think more people will get involved.
Okay, so yeah, of course.
I think that's great, and that's what we want from the community, is to find these things out. I just want to ask the quick question of, is air pollution as high up on the concern, or do you think it is way down there? It's way down there. Okay. Maybe as the talk goes, we can find out how we can push it up.
Okay, I think Ian has a point, and I'll come back to you.
I was just wondering. So there are really strong links between air pollution exposures and stroke.
Okay.
So is that known in the community? So maybe, you know, that's...
Hold on. No, what I'm saying, right, is, yeah, you got a point. You have got a point, because especially in White City and stuff, yeah, it's high with the with dampness, and you got the asbestos as well on the roofs and stuff. There were concerns with asbestos, and there were concerns with dampness as well. Remember, White City, it's old. The blocks are really old, yeah. So those were the concerns. The concerns were dampness, and the doctors, Dr. Coker, one of the best doctors in the world, Hammersmith Charing Cross. The concerns were psychoids, chest problems. Do you know what I mean? And they were baffled. Like, well, what's this? You know what I mean? Why is this coming up wherever? Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So there are concerns, but the problem is it's not conclusive. As much as, all right, it's there, she can't say, well, look, it was because you live in, yeah, partly, but not. It's not conclusive. You know what I mean? Do you see what I mean? You know, do you see what I mean? So they're still doing that kind of research and wherever in kind of general. But I mean, the stroke, I mean, a lot of that could be blood pressure, high blood pressure. No, I'm just saying. No. June,
Is there an awareness in your community, as Adam asked, that it was Ian? Was that the link between air pollution and stroke? Yeah, because
So I can give you some facts, yes. And so air pollution's linked to stroke, yeah. Fine, that's been shown. Statistical association, yes.
And how?
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Or what?
So you look at people, you look at their ethnicity, you look at their age, their gender, their work, their weight, and then you try to work out what could have contributed as a risk factor towards stroke, including their genetics, yes? And then you ask the question, does air pollution contribute as well, after you adjust, control for all those other things which can cause it, yes? And then you get the association which shows that actually it's a really large effect, yes? But that's meaningless, it's still only an association, yes? The thing is that air pollution is also linked to the amount of circulating cholesterol in your blood, your high blood pressure, hypercholesterolemia, thickening of your arteries, yes? So actually air pollution is linked to the processes which underpin the very risk of you developing stroke. And if you're in a group who has an underlying genetic susceptibility, yes, and our genetic susceptibilities always come from our ancestry, the genes that we've inherited, yes, then you can begin to say, okay, oh, so air pollution causes the illness, causes the presentation, but it's also linked to the things which underpin, we know, cause the disease. And that also changes the way you think about air pollution, because people think about air pollution as, is it a really bad air day? Yes, well, that's absolutely the case. If you've got asthma, you'll be very sensitive. But air pollution causes these effects over decades, very, very slowly. So lower levels in your community over decades contribute to this. Almost, I often think of it like an accelerated aging of your cardiovascular system. So that just gives some context, I think.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Lloyd has a point. I'll come back to you in a second, okay?
Have anyone, the scientists here, heard the theory that those who survived the slave ship during transatlantic slavery were the ones who could retain the most salt? Have you heard that? Well, a doctor said that to me. She said her husband was studying it, but none of you have heard it. Okay.
Linked to the fact that there's an increased risk of hypertension in the
That's right. Those who could retain the most salt were the ones who survived the slave ship.
Okay, so I'll come back to you in a second. Les.
I was just going to make a point here. It's about 13 years ago. Yeah, the government invested money into White Sea area. Yeah, they were concerned about the nutritional needs concerns. Yeah, and what happened is this is where it all started. The London Learner. Also, this is where the champs came and got involved as well. Yeah, it was £1 million. And then what happened is the study was to do with the nutrition. They were concerned about the life expectancy around the area, and also like to do with the atmosphere. And what happened is you had the health champions, and that's how it got formatted. Yeah, you know what I mean? It got formatted, and that was a 10-year project on the nutrition and trying to educate like your residents about healthy eating and lifestyles as well.
So what is your point?
Well, my point is that they started the project, yeah, and then after 10 years it kind of it phased out. So what's happening now is there needs to be a continuation because you've got youngsters coming through.
Oops.
Yeah, you've got other people coming through. So, they've started that. So what happens is there needs to be a continuation. Do you know what I mean? We need to move forward. But also, remember, you've got the youngsters now who need to be aware of what's kind of going on.
Okay,
yeah?
So Les is saying we need a continuation and take care of the youngsters of the new generation. I think Mikey had a point.
No, I just wanted to ask about the air pollution. It's an association, but could it be that, as people were saying earlier on, that a lot of the social housing associated with lower income is in areas of high air pollution. So can you say for sure that it's not just about people not having the wealth and resources because they're living in the areas with that is what's giving them the strokes? Is there any way to sort of find out whether it's one thing or another?
So the answer to your question is yes. Those factors are taken into consideration. Even it's allowing for all of that deprivation patterning. Yes, there is an underlying causal reason why air pollution contributes to these effects. And I think that's something which is missed in the whole debate about air pollution. People say it's difficult for people to understand because they can't see it. I think part of the problem is a lot of the effects are really delayed in time, and they take a long time, but the science is incredibly robust, really robust.
Okay, so there's a delay from all of the consequences which we have from air pollution. Junior?
Yeah, a question for Les is, when you talked about the thing that was 10 years ago, was it around the ethnicities or just people in general?
No, what happened is the project was what happened was the government were concerned about certain areas in the UK, yeah, and what happened, White City came up as a concern. So what's happened is we're talking about like the residents in that area there. So what's happened is they decided to do we had the community champs, not just that, you had the health champs as well. I was a health champ as well, and the health trainers, to go around and have a talk with all types of residents about concerns to do with lifestyle, nutrition. You saw what I mean? And it was in general. It wasn't just it was majority. We had to speak to majority of the residents. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then there was what you'll find then with the surveys and there would be a breakdown on like age, ethnicity, etc. So there was an actual breakdown on what's going on. But in general, when we actually done the task, we had to speak to everybody. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll have your breakdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christian is about to leave. Give me 1 second. Christian, please give us your fun thought.
I think the freedom of speech is something that everyone should prioritize in their life, and whatever you are doing here is great. So keep going to do, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. If you want to take this with you. So freedom of speech is really important. I think Junior wanted to say something.
Yeah, the reason why I asked, because in those 10 years, I don't know what the figures were, yeah, or whether you can find out what those figures were when it came to black, British or North African and Asian people, but just basically around what's going on in this leaflet. Because if we kind of move away from what's going on in the leaflet, we're actually defeating the object of what you're starting, yeah, from there. As well, I don't know how many visually impaired people this is getting out to, how many deaf people this is getting out to, if you would know how, even to communicate your messages to them and so on, because even when they were doing the 10-year thing, there was a lack of information going out to deaf people. There's a woman sitting in my road that was here earlier on that she said she's going deaf. I'm going partially deaf myself from there, and I've already got glaucoma in one eye, but my area is about also blind people and deaf people and getting information out to them as well.
Okay, so it's a question of inclusivity.
Yeah, absolutely right. And the thing is those have been concerns for a long time. Yeah. We're dealing with all types, yeah, and it's not just leaflets. It's not just because, as you know already, like a lot of my friends don't read the leaflets. You know what I mean? So we've got to, and it's digital now. You know already, right? It's different things. A lot. It might be texting. Do you know what I mean? It could be I mean, Moorfields. What Moorfields do. Right, which is fantastic. They have certain colours. The Morphals do certain colours. So it's funny, when I was on the first day, the guy goes to me, he mentions that, and I said to him, yeah, it's blue, it's green and black. And he goes, hey, Alexander. I said, yeah, when you go down there, yeah, you'll see there's something, because what it is it's to do with those who are short-sighted. You know what I mean? So it's just different symbols to do with it. Do you know what I mean? Which is good. You know what I mean? So this is what we got to do, is be aware. We need to be aware. Do you know what I mean? And be more street savvy. You know what I mean?
I think Evie had a point. Are you about to leave?
No, I was just because I was just a bit in pain. My hips are swollen and everything.
Okay, you're about to leave? Yeah. Okay. Please give us your final thought, Les.
On today, on
whatever. It's up to you to decide anything.
Yeah, no. I was a bit wary originally, yeah, but look, I think it was a decent conversation, and there was some positive feedback, yeah, and hopefully now we can kind of move forward, take it forward, and engage. If we can engage more. Right, you've got the community centres, you've got the health centre down this side here, which is really central. You know, the schools, right? We've got a lot of the parents. You've got Queen's Park Rangers on that side there. You've got the football pitches on that side as well. You've got the parks where you can speak to more parents, speak to more residents, and hear their feedback. Just listen to what feedback they've got. You know what I mean? And this is what we do. We build off that.
So it's about listening to people.
Yeah, listening to everyone. You know.
Listen to everyone.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful.
I'd like to ask you a question. I mean, do you think that kind of having meetings is the best way of listening to people and asking questions, or is it more like, okay, well, on Wednesdays scientists are just going to be on this estate doing whatever they do? Like, what is it? Is it through social media? Or is it about you telling other people and other people telling other people? Like, what?
Yeah,
how to do it?
Funny area, you know. I don't think. I mean, as a person who, I go to too many meetings. You know what I mean? And the thing is. Our residents, we've got 10,000 people on the estate, and when we have our residents meeting, there's only about 15 people turn up. So what it is what's happening is the way to do it And when I done the research with Turning Point and stuff, yeah, because obviously I know the area, right, I made it a bit more easy for myself. But you've got to, it's community. I mean, sorry, the health centre is really important because that's where a lot of people go. The shops, those local shops. You've got the parks. You've got the Tesco's by the BBC, wherever. So you have to. I think we have to freelance. You know what I mean, and do it the way that fits the community. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's too PC. I mean, I think some of them meetings sometimes too, and a lot of people don't turn up, unfortunately, because some work and some just think, oh God, here we go again. So I think we have to do it design something which suits.
A different approach, yeah.
Which suits. When Turning Point, we design something which suits the area. What would you suggest?
Okay.
Well, I would say more. I would do more like down at the shops, health centre, GP. Do you know what I mean? I would
places where the people go in their everyday life
and have a chat with people. That's why how I would do it. You don't want to make it too PC.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah. Adam is about to leave, so Adam, please give us your final thought.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. I hope that the conversation continues. I know we got your contact information, so we'll add you to the mailing list. Okay. If anyone else needs assistance before I leave to be added to the mailing list, wants to stay in touch, wants to help build this community trust between Imperial, this study is the first time ever that something like this is happening. And you know, the study's not going to be in my house. It's going to be in the community's house, where the point is for us to understand the health of the community. Okay, it's because I don't live in the area. Well, actually, right now I am testing them in my house. So
that's a good idea. Maybe you would get more engagement if you would let people go to your house and see what you would do at their house.
That's also a possibility, yeah. But like I said, you know, right before I leave, if there's anyone that needs, wants to be part of the mailing list, I'm just going to stand over there for 2 minutes or so, and thank you everyone for your talks.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Les, and thank you, Adam. So we have two new faces. What's your name?
Kiara.
Kiara. What's your name?
Amy.
Amy.
I'm Ian.
Ian.
Junior.
Lloyd.
Margot. Evie.
Mikey.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts. So there was a question about how could we get more engagement with the community when we work, when you're studying things. So Kiara, you raise your hand.
About in science, some people don't really trust science because they think it's fake, but some people do.
And why do they think it's fake?
Because they don't believe in it.
Okay. And in what do they believe, do you think?
They believe that science is just faking all of this stuff they're saying.
Okay, maybe we can answer. Do scientists fake things?
They don't. Because you see on video and you see them blast off, and you can see in real life and stuff.
Okay, so Kiara is saying scientists don't fake things. I think there are some other points. Mikey?
I mean, it happens quite rarely, but scientists do fake stuff. And actually, I remember reading, this is in the New Scientist, that quite a large number of journals had got not journals, but papers in journals had got fake information in them. So it's not like that scientists never fake their evidence.
Okay, so Mikey is saying sometimes scientists fake things. Margot also wanted to say something.
I've got a question for Kiara. Kiara, would you let a scientist into your house to find out whether your house has got pollution? Is that a bit too much?
No, because they're a stranger and you don't trust strangers.
Ah, so there's a problem that you think if you don't know a scientist, it's a stranger and you would not let them into your house.
Yep,
okay.
I wouldn't let them. I've just I'll just try investigate myself.
And if your mom Amy, would you leave a scientist in your house to make research about air pollution?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
Okay.
This child's more educated than me.
No, I was just thinking that. Yeah, because I guess but the study that like Ian and their team are doing is when you get like they're putting like a monitoring system in your house. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Was it Adam brought up of like, oh, it's not in my house. Maybe it will be more. Maybe you get more trust if you're saying, right, I'm doing this in my house right now. Can you guys all do this in your house? I don't know. It's an interesting concept.
She believes in Neil Armstrong. Is it Neil Armstrong? Is it Neil Armstrong? Is it Neil Armstrong? Yeah. Yeah, she. Look at her.
Yeah, she's gonna get.
Yeah, she believes in Neil. What is it? No.
It's about he went in space. He was the first man on the moon, and he put American flag, and on the moon you can't see footprints because the dust, the wind. No, you can see them because there's no wind on the gravity. There's no gravity.
No shops.
Yeah. There's nothing on the earth. It's just nothing.
Yeah, I think there's some points on.
Yeah, I think Kiara make a good point about I think if we landed on the moon now, I don't think we'd let one country put their flag on the moon. I think it was because it's just an American flag, which now seems really strange because we have like the International Space Station and it's sort of global. So I think if we did the same thing now, I don't think we'd put. I hope we wouldn't. But I don't know whether we'd win out. Because obviously it was a big political move at the same time. But I hope that there will be. I hope the UN would interfere and say no. You have to put a UN flag on. You know.
Okay, it's an interesting point. Which flag would we now put on the moon if we would do this again?
Not Polish flag. Although Poland has done some interesting things, of course, and in science as well. You may know this French scientist Marie Curie. She was Polish. Just put it out there. Some people don't know this, but anyway, no. But what I wanted to ask Kara, because you were talking about animals before, and you went then, but we were talking about donating people's bodies to science after they die. I wonder whether you would donate your pet to science if you knew this would help other pets get better.
It's an interesting question. What would you do with your pet?
I wouldn't because it wouldn't be like I would not let my pet die because it wouldn't. I just won't because I want my pet to stay and I get to decide if I want it or not. But
how would you change that? How?
I would just say no to them. You should just use other materials and see if they come back or not. Okay. Instead of using real pets or humans.
Okay, so scientists should use other materials instead of pets. Okay, I think Junior has a point on that.
Boy, you're very good. Yeah, you're very good for your young age and everything and that. It's a shame sometimes the era that you've grown up, we were brought up in a different era, and so we kind of get to see what your beliefs are as well, so I'm glad to be alive to see a different generation what their beliefs are as well. I personally myself, I didn't believe in Neil Armstrong walking on the moon and all this, like I was yeah, really, you know.
And why? Maybe because it's a different generation.
No,
you have to
because
people,
humans paint themselves as more than something that they actually are. Yeah, from there. That's the reason why. Plus, I've grown up in the real world. Yeah, I've grown up with something that's with me all my life, and so it's always been there. So you kind of couldn't sell me the fake. If anybody sold me fake, it was me that sold myself fake. Yeah, from there. And that's the reason why.
Okay.
Well done.
Kiara, what's your point?
I kind of don't believe he even walked in a movie as well because I think they just tried because they did pictures of him, but there's no one else on the moon with him.
So you don't think that it really happened?
Because no one else is on there.
Okay, I think. Ian, do you have to say something? Mikey?
If you look at those photos of the people on the moon, what you'll see, just like you see here today, is that anything like a flag, like the shadow of the flag is a straight line and it's parallel with all the other shadows, and that's because the light's coming from the sun, which is approximately, I don't know, 83 million miles away, so it's a very parallel shadow. And if you look at all the photos of the moon landing, you'll see that all the shadows are parallel. So if that was recreated in a studio, it would need a light like approximately a kilometre away at least, and it's probably too bright for something that could have been invented in the 1960s. Okay. So to me that suggests that the moon landings were not fake.
Okay, so moon landing were not fake. Ian, what do you think?
I would just recommend that you all watch the Mitchell and Webb sketch.
What's that?
They're a comedian and they had a sketch about faking the moon landings, but it was actually very cleverly done, because the reality is it would have been more expensive to have faked the moon landings than it was to actually put people on the moon, which is the thing. And there was another person. There was another person in the capsule who walked on the moon with Neil Armstrong and a man, and you can actually see the landing module on the moon from the Earth with powerful telescopes now. So it did happen. Whether it should change our thoughts about how clever we are or change the way we feel about ourselves, that's a different issue, yeah?
Yeah, that's true. Chiara?
I agree, because you can you can see his arm or his leg, and sometimes you can see his shield, because there's a picture where 2 astronauts come out, like a leg sticking out, and you can see the rocket lander, and everyone said it's just Neil Armstrong when it's 2 people there.
The second person was so disappointed.
And no one.
Nobody remembers.
I thought there were 3 people and one person wasn't able to go out. But yeah, that's the worst thing to do, is to go all the way to the moon and then you're not able to go out. I think that's the real hero of the story, is the person who chose to go to the moon and then not step on the moon itself.
Okay. If Russia went there, it would be Russian by itself. But if there was 2 Russians, it would be fake. And if it was like a different country with by itself, it would make sense.
I think Buzz Aldrin was the second man on the moon, and the guy going around the moon in the capsule was called Collins, and he did eventually get to walk. He did eventually go on another moon mission, and he did get to walk on the moon as compensation.
Mikey?
Apparently when they went on their trip, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong didn't get on at all when they were there.
Maybe this is the reason why only one.
You know why? There was no atmosphere.
Sorry.
I'm going in year 3 this year, and I'm gonna learn about more space, I think, and I think I might learn about the Russian. So
what do you want to learn about the Russians?
The Russians sometimes might lie. That they have 1 person and the English have 2 people, but instead the Russians are doing it as well, because you can see it in the photos and stuff.
Okay, so the Russians did the same as the Americans, you want to say?
Yeah, they're trying to copy them, but other countries, they don't copy, because Russian helps the English because they both get along, and the English helps the Russian, but other countries help each other, like French helps, army goes to English or Russian, and the other armies go as well.
Okay, I think your mom has something to say on that, and I think Margot raised her hand.
No, what other countries? So.
Okay. You have a question, please?
No, what other countries?
It's Germany's,
maybe
Albania, Albania, and
maybe someone else knows. I know that Margot has a point on that. Margot.
No, I was just wondering, I mean, it's just interesting how facts and science is being reported, and it kind of depends on which country you're in. But also I know, I vaguely am aware of this there's confirmation bias, and there's a bias in how research is being published, that only good results, also kind of trendy results get most coverage, and all the kind of less popular, or we didn't know we're going to come up with this is not so good for XYZ, I don't know, our funders or whatever. So we're not going to talk about that so much. But I do find it interesting how different countries maybe report news differently, because you go to Russia, like you say, and you know they want to launch their own internet. I'm like, you know, as much as
Okay, so
what I think about Russia is an impressive notion.
So stories are told in a different way depending on which country is telling about the story. Mikey?
I'm just wondering, in the space capsule, in that very confined environment, is there an issue with indoor air pollution? And, you know, especially if they're using a lot of deodorants and stuff like that in the space, or they are not allowed to use deodorants in the underarm sprays in the space capsule?
Someone raised their hand.
Do you know, sometimes there's a bit of knowledge you think you're never going to be able to use in public. So,
and then there is this moment.
My goodness. You can get NASA moon dust to do the research, yes, on the impact and the toxicity of the moon dust, and they sampled it because there are pictures of the astronauts in the lunar module after they take their helmets off, and they are black because the moon was full of this black dust and it went through the air vents, and so NASA are actually concerned about the respiratory hazard of moon dust. And they will give you little moon dust, but it's simulated, sort of pretend moon dust. But if your research is good, you can get the real stuff. So yes, they are concerned about moon dust from the moon surface getting into the capsules or living areas and the effect it would have on their astronauts.
Oh, that's interesting. Chiara, what do you think on that?
I have a question for the one behind you.
To Margot. You have a question. Yeah.
What I forgot what you said there.
We were speaking about Russia and the countries, and you were mentioning Germany.
What do you know about Russian in that country?
Russian in England or in the UK, or
like helping the other country, faking, like.
Okay, what does Margot know about faking? Hello, this is Talkaoke. Take a seat if you want to. We're speaking about air pollution in the airspace, and now we're speaking about Russians and how they fake.
I mean, I think I mean, maybe it's not so much faking, but it's just like if you got hold of a lot of people's attention, if you like run a country and then you control the television and what people watch and what they write in newspapers, what people read and that kind of stuff, then you can just like throw in any kind of information and people will, you know, absorb it, and they would need to, you know, and if they go to the neighbor and be like, oh look, they wrote this in a newspaper, can you, like, this can't be right, and the neighbor goes like, no, but I believe it, and another neighbor goes like, oh yeah, I also believe it, then it really takes a lot of I don't know, like efforts to try to believe something that is not what everyone believes in. So I think Russia is trying to, you know, they're trying to kind of invent their own stuff, like McDonald's, like the internet, like, I don't know, other things, social media platforms, so that they can control it. So that's kind of that's the news that we're getting. Is it true? I don't know.
Okay, that's a good question. I see on your face, I will come back to you. Hey, what's your name?
Marissa.
Hey, Marissa.
Hi.
I will give you the mic in a sec. So we're here with Ian, Chiara, Candice, Amy, Mikey, Evie, Margot and Lloyd. So you have a point on that?
No, I don't. I don't know what we're talking about. But if you tell me, then I'll have a point. What are we talking about?
So we were now speaking about...
The government? I mean, I have a lot to say about the government.
But what do you think about the government?
The living crisis is an absolute washout.
How does it affect your life?
Okay, so I had a job at a company and I was made redundant in April after 8 years. So now I'm in unemployment. I'm training now and I personal train on the side. So for me, personally, it doesn't affect me because I have the father of my child supporting me. But the way, especially what Boris Johnson said, like, what did he say? He said basically that we're going to be suffering this winter. I'm going to have to deal with it, which I think is an absolute disgrace. He's handing out certain payments, but not. I feel like the government are using what's happening in the war as an excuse. I don't trust it. I never trust the government. I never trust the whole COVID, everything, the whole system, the whole experience.
Why?
Why? Okay, why is a good reason. So the
let's
way
ask-
that they pushed out the whole vaccine, the way that they sold it through fear and pushed it so desperately worried me. They didn't have enough time to experiment on the vaccine in order for it to be deemed safe worried me. Just the way that they expressed it and the way that they wanted people to get it was worrying in that sense. There's an agenda. I feel there's an agenda for us. I feel like it's time for us to all come together and really like deeply think about what is happening with the government and what they really want for us as people. And I feel like the people need to come together, join in unity, because it's not, it's all, for me, it's financial game.
Okay.
Financial game.
Okay. Evie?
No, it's interesting. I was about to ask you, like, oh yeah, like what do you think the agenda is? Because I think, like, actually, like, getting everyone vaccinated, I was like, actually, yeah, that makes sense. But I thought it was interesting that, like, for a while where you think that maybe, I'm quite into science, but like, it was quite interesting. Suddenly, loads of people were really interested in like, how does an experiment work? How long should a trial last and stuff like that? Which was quite good. That suddenly loads of people were like, I really want to examine. Yeah. But yeah, like that's why I was like, oh, but yeah, I see what you mean about. And then people were questioning about drugs, like drug companies and how they make money.
Give me 1 second. I'll pass you the mic. I'll just. Mikey also has a point.
I mean, I do think that the way, there was a lot of fear involved in how it was communicated, but I think that they felt that they needed to do that in order to get the number of deaths down. So, in a way, I felt like they weren't really involving the public in the discussion. It was just like, this is what we're going to do.
You have to do.
Yeah. But I do think lives were saved in that way. But I think there was it was a playoff, let's say, between the lives lost, because of mental health, because of people not doing their normal things, because of not reporting to their GP cancer symptoms, etc. But in the end, probably more lives were saved than lost. But I don't think that calculation was open to the people. It was just communicated as something you had to do.
Okay, so there was kind of a lack of communication again of about the plans. So
I will say that the numbers were there. The numbers were there, and the numbers weren't there for the amount of numbers that were lost from having the vaccine. And then it was like, you have this booster and you have another booster, and then you have another booster. You can't travel unless you have this booster, that booster, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's okay, it's safe to travel. I think it's an absolute mockery of society. And I feel like people need to have their own minds right now in this moment and just use your own instincts, do your own research, because if you do the research, it's plain to see.
Okay, give me 1 second. So, Amy, you have one of them.
What was weird is people were like, oh, you can't travel if you don't have vaccination, so you wait a couple months. But then, as soon as it died down, they're like, yeah, you can travel, you can go to nightclubs.
Okay.
It was cancelled out. So it's like a fear factor. Like, you can't do this because I got told, I'm 27, I got told I can't go to nightclubs, I can't do this, can't do that. I said, okay, I'll wait out because I'm not getting vaccinated. I'm not going to belittle myself, and I'm not going to feel like I'm doing it because I want to, like, I felt like I went through COVID. I suffered COVID. I was thinking, no, like, I'm not going to get it because I want to get it.
Okay.
So all that, I went through all that, but people are like, you can't travel if you don't have vaccination, blah, blah. But now they're letting you travel, they're letting you go to nightclubs, they're letting you do this, they're letting you do. So I'm like, so are you doing it because you benefit you or you benefit on us? Like, what are you doing? Like,
so there's again some mistrust into the government. I see your hand. Give me 1 second. Hi, this is Talkaoke, a pop-up talk show. What's your name?
Hawa.
Awa.
Hawa, yeah.
What's your name?
Katra.
Katra and
Mona.
And Mona. Okay, we're here with Mikey, Evie, Margot, Lloyd, Marissa, Ian, Kiara, Candice, and Amy. Evie has a point, and then I will come back to you.
I was just saying, I think it's good to question things, but don't you think that people were able to travel more because lots of people got vaccinated, therefore was spreading less, so people could travel more?
Okay.
But their agenda was to be like, yes, get the vaccine. That was the main agenda. Get the vaccine, and then they made it like it's amazing for you. You're so special because now it's amazing. You can travel because you've had the vaccine. The main thing was to get everyone vaccinated. That was it.
And so there was a lot of mistrust.
The vaccines are not safe. Sorry, let me just get that out there.
So
people have died from the vaccine. Okay. They're putting it out there like it's safe. We don't know if it is. A lot of people have died from it, okay? But in the beginning, they made it like you had to get it, so people were desperate.
Okay.
And now that a lot of people have had it, they made it like it's special. So now you've got it, we can all travel. We could all travel before when we were free, okay?
Okay, now let's ask. We are so many different people here. Let's ask the others. So, what do you think? Was there a lot of mistrust for you?
They say you can travel. There's so many diseases, like, and they'll let you travel, like loads of diseases from decades and decades. But they have cures, like cancer. Where's the cure for that? How are they doing COVID and all that? How are they finding cures for that? Like. So
I don't have an opinion here. Let's ask Ian for.
It's really simple. COVID's actually quite a simple disease. We know a lot about respiratory viruses. Nothing about the COVID epidemic was a surprise. We'd been waiting for it for 25 years. They'd had an outbreak of a previous virus in Southeast Asia 12 years ago, and that's why South Korea and Japan actually handled it much better than we did, because they knew exactly what to do, and they did it very, very early and very quickly. They didn't dither. They had fewer deaths, less lockdowns. Everything was handled in a much more professional basis, and actually the virus technology is really easy to manufacture. So that cancer is not simple.
I'll pass you the mic in a second.
So cancer is actually very complicated to deal with. But that's because cancer is a lot of different diseases. So if you take a disease like pancreatic cancer, I would have said 10 years ago, if you got pancreatic cancer, you were really.
I'll pass you the mic in a second, but there are other people, because we said we make a round here on the table, and let's see other people also. Yeah, other people speak. So Mikey.
Thank you, Kiara. No, I just want to say, I think you're absolutely right that it's a very, very simple disease. It is actually not that different from a common cold. So we know a lot about the transmission of it. Cancer, I think, as Ian's, I just want to back that up. I had a friend that had pancreatic cancer, and it is an incredibly complex disease that once you detect it, it's normally too late. And I think one of my issues with the lockdown is that even now, people are not going to their GPs, so they're not actually getting checked up for things like cancer. And we're still suffering from that shock to the health system.
So there's still an impact?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things maybe that we as a nation didn't really take into account, and in a way the damage was done beforehand when we didn't have our health service had been so worn down beforehand that we were so sensitive to the COVID pandemic.
Okay, so, and I think, was it Mona? Mona? What was Katra? I think you had a point, didn't you?
Yeah, it's good, my
friend. Okay.
Sorry, because I came in quite late. So what are we debating? The vaccine.
So Mike, you just mentioned the impact from the pandemic, that people are not going to see the GP, and Amy said that and Melissa, they both say there's a huge mistrust into the government. Yeah, but maybe speaking into the mic, Amy.
So what don't you get? Sorry.
And Ian just
they can find cures for this, but they can't find it for cancer and all this. Like how can they do it so quick?
Okay, so how can they find a vaccine so quickly? Does anyone has an answer? Have an answer to that? I think. Amy and
I thought I think Ian said because it's quite similar to a lot of diseases that have already existed, so they were expecting it. So I think that's why it was so quick, because they're like, oh, we're expecting something like this.
But how can you expect it? Cancer's been around for many years. You obviously I don't know how to explain it. Right? You would think like you would be able to sort like cancer out by now, and you're saying, oh, you was expecting this disease. So how are you expecting this, but you wasn't trying to? I do get where you.
Okay, I think Evie and then Mikey.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think because cancer is when that your cells just keep growing and then just affect. So it's more like a symptom rather than like a specific disease, is what I think. But I don't know a lot about it, so I think that's why it's more complicated.
Okay, Mikey.
Cancer is what we call cancer is lots and lots of different, normally cellular mutations that happen in the body that cause out of control growth in the body of various tissues. So in a way, it's harder for our own immune system to detect it because it's our own body. Our own immune system. Normally those abnormalities are weeded out by our immune system, but cancer is when you get a cell growth that goes out of control and the body's no longer controlling it. But there's lots of different types of mutations in lots of different tissues, and each one is different. And I think one of the interesting things is that in learning to treat it, we actually learn to treat all those very, very different mutations and how you can intercept one or another in different ways.
Okay, I think I've won, and then Ian.
Hi,
Amy,
my name is Qadra. I'm working in big charity, Basic Shabar Bush, Mother and Child Welfare Organization.
Mother and Child
Welfare Organization. The vaccine, someone say I don't want it 50-50. Someone say very good. I have the vaccine, 3 vaccine. I'm very good health because I'm working front line. The vaccine and they're very good for health for myself. But my colleague say no good or negative, but my side is very good because save your life. The vaccine. Mona is speaking.
And I think we just have to be really careful in terms of if we say, oh, the vaccine is, killing people, or because I think when COVID came around, it was a shock to around the whole world, and myself and like my colleague were just saying, we're very appreciative of the vaccine, because I think we wouldn't been able to do the frontline work that we're doing if it wasn't for the vaccine. Especially when you look at ethnic minority communities, it really impacted. There's so many families that we know in the community that have lost family members, we've lost friends, so it was a huge shock, I think, across the world, and personally I'm really thankful for the vaccine, because I don't think I'll be out and about travelling without it.
So you guys had the vaccines and...
Yeah, so I've had all the vaccines, my colleague has, my parents have,
Okay, so there was a lot of trust into the vaccine. Ian, you had a point.
Well, I was getting back to the cancer point. I could wipe out tomorrow 78 to 80% of all lung cancer in one go, and that's just by banning cigarette smoking in the United Kingdom completely in one go. So this is the issue. Why? You don't need a cure for many cancers. You need to reduce the environmental risk factors which cause it. Our society has decided to live and legalise the things which actually cause the cancers.
We can easily find cures for different things, but when it comes to cancer, HIV, blah blah, it takes ages, decades, blah blah. It's never a cure. Or we can slow it down, but but how quick? But how do we do other things so quick, like minor things so quick? Like if it comes, do you know what I mean? I'm not
okay. So let me just make it. Hello, this is Talkaoke. Come on over, take a seat. It's a pop-up talk show. It's up to you to decide on about what we are going to discuss. Kiara, I'll pass you the mic in a second. So we were speaking about the mistrust into the government related to the pandemic. Then people speaking about they got vaccinated and they didn't have any problems. So we also were speaking about cancer and the research, and also about that we actually have to take care about the environment. So people, it's up to you on what we want to discuss. Evie.
Oh no, go, Mikey.
No, well, I mean, I think there is a point because you've got diseases like malaria and cholera, which kill a lot of people, but they tend to kill poorer people. And that, you know, there is sort of some prevention for it, but there's not been a huge effort like there was for COVID, and that is very much about inequality of what disease is considered important. So you know, the diseases that are researched tend to be the diseases of the rich, actually like cancer, that tend to get a lot more investment in them rather than the diseases of poorer people, which are researched and there are people making a lot of work, but they're not the priority. So I think there is a point there that actually sometimes it's about the people in power and what illnesses they're going to get. The fact that no one was immune to COVID. Let's get a final thought from you, Mona, before we... Final thought.
We always get final thoughts.
Sorry, I was just droning on too much.
Could be on anything.
And from Kadra as well.
Yeah.
Final thought from
Kadra,
both of
please
you.
give us your final thought.
Do you both work for the same organisation?
Charity,
Okay, yeah.
On the vaccine.
It's or anything, up to you. Could be,
Maybe like coming together and being there for one another, and just, you know, as a community, you know, ensuring that your neighbour's okay, and just being kind. Yeah, I think kindness is you know, very important, especially after the pandemic. You know, especially, you know, where a lot of people, the elderly living alone, mental health concerns. So let's just, be there for one another and just be kind. Yeah.
Okay, do we need more kindness? Thank you, after the pandemic. Thank you. And Kadra, please give us your final thought. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hard work, the company, and this. I'm very happy. I'm come debate again and work together.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much, and
Thank you, Kadra,
thanks for
and
the
Mona.
snacks.
Yeah, great. So, Chiara, you're starting to say something, please.
You should stop littering in London, like in the UK, because it's hurting the plant and there's low oxygen and stuff.
We should stop the trains. Did I get that right?
Yeah, and you should put it in the bin, and we should have less roads, smaller roads, because it will damage the earth, because if you're using too much gas, so it's better.
Do you think because of the air pollution? You mean? Okay. Yeah. So should we?
And you should stop wasting wasting stuff, stop throwing stuff on the ground. You should pick up your rubbish and put it in the bin if you drop it.
Okay, so Chiara has a lot of suggestions what we could do better and how we could improve our environment.
And you should some people, and you should walk morely, because it will help the environment, and you'll get some exercise.
Okay, thank you for these suggestions, Chiara. So, Margot.
I have seen, admittedly, there were young people throwing litter on the pavement, but I never know what to say to them. What do you say to a young person who drops litter? Actually, it doesn't have to be just young person, obviously, but what do you say to them? Because, you know, do you know? Yeah, no, I want some tips, because I've seen it before. I don't know what to say without sounding a bit like, you know, I'm telling them off too much. Maybe they're having a really crap day and they just hate everyone and everything today. I don't know. So.
Okay, what do you say to a person putting litter on the street?
I'm going to escalate this, because I feel like I think you're fair enough. You can say yes, or put that in the bin or something. And I think most people will know that they've done wrong, and they'll like, oh, whatever. They'll either be rude to you, or they'll just know that they've done wrong and put it in the bin. What really annoys me is that it's socially acceptable as a smoker to throw your cigarette butt on the floor, and I don't understand why that's okay, but littering isn't. So we've all talked about it. We all kind of know littering's wrong, but smoking and throwing your end on the floor is fine.
Okay, so we have a new face on the table. What's your name?
Khadija.
Khadija. We are here with Mikey, Evie, Margot, Lloyd, Ian, Chiara. What's your name?
Lahe.
Lahe?
Come a bit closer, they need to hear you. He doesn't want to.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Nothing bad is going to happen. So. Okay. I will not pass you the mic anymore. So this is Talkaoke. This is a Talkaoke show, and it's up to you to decide. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So we were just discussing what would you, as a young person, like to hear if you would throw out litter. I'm not assuming that you do that on the street. Yeah.
I wouldn't throw litter on the streets because it would do pollution, and then we'd get ill.
Oh, okay. So we get ill because of pollution. Chiara?
We will die because there might not be enough trees left because the trees die. And when it's like autumn, the leaves fall down, then they grow back.
And why do we need trees?
We need them for oxygen.
Okay, why do we need oxygen?
So we can breathe.
Ah, okay.
Like if we didn't have trees and it was just no trees, we would die and no one would be on the earth at all.
Okay, so we need trees to live. Okay, Mikey, you had a point? Or no?
It's kind of gone now.
Okay, so we were speaking about... Yeah. Okay, so...
I feel like we're almost in the final thoughts phase anyway.
Okay, Ian.
I'd just like to ask a question to you and everybody else, yes? So we just had a big global emergency with COVID, yes? And we were locked down and we all had vaccinations, and so we now know how the world reacts when there's an emergency, yes? Do you think we have a climate change emergency?
What do you think, Chiara?
We do, because I saw so much litter over there. If you litter, it means like it's making another climate change, and nothing is like not going right, and everyone needs to stop throwing litter on the floor.
Yeah. Okay. So Ian was asking, do we have a climate
yeah, I think.
emergency?
Both of you come and sit down. Yeah. No, you don't have to as well. But I think something like climate change or air pollution or like heating or flooding and stuff like that, all that kind of thing, it's really hard to get your head around because what you're doing now might affect you in 2 years' time or something. A bit like what Ian and their team are talking about air pollution, is that you could have dirty air around you, but you'll feel fine, but you might not feel fine 40 years later. That's just, you can't get your head around that. So I think, but I think, having said that, I think everyone knows that climate change is happening and everything, and it's bad. But it's whether we can individually all act. And I don't feel people feel powerful to do that.
To change.
I feel like even when someone's like, right, I'm vegetarian now, I don't feel like people feel like that's contributing to making a change because it's so hard to fix.
Okay, so it's like, what can people also do to feel the impact which their own life has on the climate change? Hello, this is Talkaoke. I'm Timna. What's your name?
Olga from Russia.
Olga from Russia. Hi. What's your name?
Sheikwana from London.
Sheikwana from London. Is it Kesha? Khadija. We have here. Okay, let's make a round of names.
Mikey from Hackney.
Okay.
Margot from Poland.
Are you from Poland?
Lloyd from White City.
Evie from Limehouse.
I'm not speaking, so.
I'm Kiara from Hammersmith.
Okay, so so this is Talkaoke. It's up to you to decide on what we are going to discuss. And Mikey, you had a point. Yeah, is it just related to?
Well, no, so it's actually about the climate change point. I think it's, in a way, it goes back to the same thing. Is that it was a fairly easy problem to fix for the people in power, whereas climate change, it actually involves a shift of power. So it's actually a much more difficult, and it is a more political problem, because it actually means not getting our power from the same sources. So we stop using oil and gas. That's a big one, and we've just seen some of the effects of gas and oil. Also, it means not driving cars or driving electric cars and all kinds of stuff like that. It means.
Have you seen the accidents though?
Give me 1 second, because she had a point.
For me it's very important. I'm gonna cry.
because it's happening. This war between Ukraine and Russia is make this too good. It's affect all countries, all Europe, isn't it? It's very, very difficult. Many people call to me, fucking Russia. Why? Why? I have honors to my family. I have a very famous family. I'm a very rich woman. Why is question? Why is people hate Russian people? Why?
So we actually have things which do involve us all. We have the climate change. We have the war in Ukraine. Yeah. No worries. No one assumes that. You had something to say, Amy. You had a point. We were discussing climate change,
I'm
change
saying.
of power. Sorry, I will come back to you.
I can't remember what I said.
I'll do it for her.
I can't remember what I said now.
No worries. I think there were some other points.
Climate change we're talking about? All right, cool.
You can.
Hi again. All right. Climate changes, we really have to go way back to the ancestors' time, back to generations' time in them sides. So we had less technologies, we had less of social medias, we had less of, from cars, from planes and that. Back in the days, it was like, have a bicycle, go walk around, go do climbings, and stuff like that. But now, it's kind of like, since you really have like the cars, planes, and with the whole scooters, the whole motorcycles, that really damages, because the more smokes, the more environment issues that you're trying to bring in. Now, for us, we have to teach our younger generations right now that the corruptions that we have is not like back in the days. Back in the days, it was like less of damages, for an example, like rains and stuff like that. But now it's more floodings, more rain, more thunder, more this, more war, more like so many things.
What should we teach?
What you really need to teach your kids is like, forget about technology, forget about, you want to live nice life. Hard life is the easy life for you. Just to say it.
Okay, so hard life is going to be
the hard life.
Yeah.
Is the easy way for you.
Okay.
But the easy life, it will be the hard things for you.
Okay.
Just saying.
So the opposite. Okay. So we have a new face here. Hello, my name is Timna. What's your name?
John.
John, nice to meet you. We're here with
Kiara,
Amy,
Junior,
Lloyd,
Margot, Evie,
Mikey,
Khadija,
Shaykwana,
Olga, Russian.
Adelaide,
Queen Adelaide.
Queen Adelaide. Oh, that's a beautiful name. So we are discussing the climate change, the change of power, about the actually consequences with which the new generation will have to will be confronted to, and it's up to you. You have a point, please.
We're doing as much as we can, because it's very important. Our planet is very, very important.
So we should save our planet. Hello.
Yeah, no, I think what you were saying, Shakwana, it really, just made me think. I think we have just been so used to convenient lifestyle. And it just became, it's no longer about like what, why do we have these things, where do they come from? Okay, we talk about it marginally, but everybody's got an iPhone or such thing. But it's just been kind of inbuilt in us that like having latest technology that makes you like a real, you are someone if you've got all these different gadgets. It really doesn't. And like simple life, like you say, washing your own clothes and stuff, that is just life. Like, yeah, we don't have a bunch of diseases, we've got new ones, we've got the stuff that's happening to nature, but I think people are just too used to a convenient lifestyle, essentially. That's what it is. But I think we just need to make old school, bring back the old school ways. Yeah, old school.
Okay. Old school is the better way. I know that we have different generations here. John, what is old school? Should we go back to old school to save our environment? I know.
What's the question?
Because excuse me, John, please give us your final thought.
My final thoughts will be for me to pray for every single person, these humans, the animals, everyone. May God bless you guys, give you guys a long health and protection and more wealth and more success in everything that you do, and may God bless us all. Thank you for that. And remember, old school is the best way, yeah? All right. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So, Chiara.
About climate change, you have to like stop littering and just put it in the bin instead of like littering and making the environment not good. And like the trees help you breathe because they're made out of oxygen, because they bring all the oxygen to the leaves and then it goes down the tree.
So it makes our air actually better, and so we should protect actually our trees.
That helps how to breathe, and you can like by helping I'm gonna help. In year 3 I'm going to the club where you pick up rubbish to help the environment. That's the club I'm gonna do.
So you learn in school how to protect the environment, which is great. Olga, I think you had a point. Oh.
It's very important because you can speak the same language. She can speak Russian.
Ah, okay.
Yes. Говоришь по-русски?
Okay.
Yeah. For me it's very important. So apologize. All the time I'm crying. For me it's very important. Trees around house. Speak 2 languages. And safe nature. What are you thinking about?
I think Khadija
You're gonna save
has a point.
nature.
Do you have a point? Okay, give us your final thought, Khadija, please. Okay.
I think that pollution should stop. I don't think it's good because if pollution keeps happening, then we would die. We couldn't survive. The trees would die. Everything would die, and the planet would disappear, just like Mars did. Mars was once our planet.
So we should stop pollution to survive, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you, Khadija, for that final thought. Okay, so this is Talkaoke. We started, I think, around 11 a.m. We spoke about the smells of city. We started to speak about perfumes. We started to speak about how bodies smell, different senses. We spoke about how candles could infect our indoor air pollution. We spoke about how we could improve the air quality in our homes. We spoke about how we could improve about asthma, and we spoke about the vaccine. We spoke about the different resources which we use to get our information. We spoke about so many different things, and we spoke about the climate change. And now I would like to get your final thoughts. Lloyd, would you like to start with the final thought?
Final thought.
Please. Could be about anything. Yeah.
One love.
One love. Thank you, Lloyd. Junior, please give us your final thought.
You was talking about really tidying up the area and something like this. There's a word for it where fly tipping, and I could tell you for about 17 years we've lived with fly tipping. Piles of rubbish, diapers, you name it, it's there. And we've had to put a van right by the bins, and my car's parked in the middle and another car parked on the outside, just to stop fly tipping, because the square where we live, it's like everybody thinks there's a sign that says, come and dump it here. Yeah, from there. And I'm so fed up of it like that. And I'm sure other people are, but I think people have got even worse since they've been allowed back out on April Fool's Day, like all days April Fool's Day, you know, yeah, like that. But yeah, mine was about fly tipping and how we're going to stop it, because that's also to do with polluting the air.
Thank you for that final thought. Yeah. So, I will come to you. We make fun. Okay, give us your final thought, Olga, please.
I know this gentleman 1 year. I'm working in food bank. All the time I'm working around. I'm helping for the people. I'm working also on a shelter. I know the gentleman. He lives in Kisgrove, isn't it?
Sorry?
You live in Kisgrove, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I know him around 20 years.
Ah.
Yeah. I'm a quite famous person there as well. I said, so apologize, my English quite bad. And try to speak. I have a little bit mental problem. Yeah. Because
So your neighbors?
food bank is working all the time helping for people.
Yeah. That's great.
Is this W12 Wormholt Park? My daughter, she's 6, going to this school. It is a very important area for the life.
That's great. Have you heard about
explain.
this research? Just some information. I will give you this information about this research. So, Amy, would you like to give us your fun thought? Could be about anything.
No. What do you think about your daughter? The way she talks,
It must be hard having a daughter like that telling you all the things that you're doing wrong all the time. You're not putting your recycling or doing whatever. Must be quite tough.
I put recycling because this one, she's what's it called? She loves the environment. Like she's like, Mom, do this, Mom, do that. Say, make sure you take this out, blah blah. Like she lives for the, don't you? You live for the environment. Go on.
I was going to say, so like you should also like see if there's any rubbish around the trees or like anywhere near your house. You could pick it up with a glove and you can put it in the garbage to help the environment. I loved coming here. I'm gonna join.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. Thank you for coming and staying. John, would you give us your final thought, please?
I think Hammersmith is one of the cleanest boroughs around.
Oh.
Definitely for road sweeping, though, definitely the cleanest. You go to Acton and there's dirt everywhere. Hammersmith, at least once, they're nearly every day up here cleaning it. I mean, it's the people that spoil it all. They just go out and bang their rubbish down. And we used to have little tips at one time in the borough, once a week, where you could put all your big rubbish into. It was a good idea, but it cost too much.
Okay, so there was a lack of money, so that. Thank you. Have you seen?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy and Chiara. Bye, Junior. Evie, your final thought.
Hello. Well, yeah, I think I'm maybe the last Talkaoke person to last person for dining thoughts, but yeah, I think fly tipping is also a massive problem about mine. I think it's maybe a lack of awareness as well. People just think they think that they'll put the mattress out there and then it'll be picked up. It doesn't. It encourages more people. We copy each other, so let's set each other a good example.
Okay, so we need testimonials. Yeah. Mikey, your final thought.
Everything is connected.
Everything. Margot.
Haters gonna hate. Spread love.
Ooh, thank you for these final thoughts. So this is, John, you have a second final thought, please.
Well, if people were more tidy, we might get somewhere, but until then, it's just a waste of time, I think. The borough do their best. It costs so much money to move it every week. It costs thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that people school children are getting more tidier, I think. I do see them put rubbish in bins now. Well, they never used to do that, but they do it now, I notice more.
Yeah.
I've got to go because I've had the school.
Yeah. No, it's also about the responsibility of all of us. Yeah. So this was Talkaoke, a pop-up talk show where the people speak. If you want to,
let's have a big round of applause for Tim there in the middle, who's been in there, and Evie earlier on. It's been a fantastic day, and thanks to everyone at Imperial. And it's been an amazing. Sorry, I got corrected. It's been an amazing day. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to the humans and the dogs. And we'll see you next time.